Hello again. Now, have you been watching Sky Atlantic's mini-series Chernobyl? Well, if not, you should. It's brilliant, and it's also led to a real surge in interest around the nuclear disaster that took place back in 1986. The hit show has led to an increase in tourism at the site of the incident, and some social media users have posted pictures of themselves whilst they're there, and it's provoked a lot of criticism from the show's writer and producer. Well, joining me now is travel journalist Jill Starley-Grainger, and from Kiev are Dana Outcolt and Connor Diamond. They're both students who've been out in Chernobyl for the past 3 days. Thank you all very much for being with us. Now, Dana and Connor, you're in Kiev at the moment. You've been out to the site at Chernobyl. Tell me about the whole experience.
Well, we booked the tour and the experience after the second episode of the actual TV series. We had an underlying kind of niche interest in Chernobyl and the nuclear disaster in general, but we thought we finished exams last Friday, so we thought we might as well fly out to Kiev on the Monday. The experience was incredible. I mean, we visited everything from Chernobyl town, which is actually outside and further away from the nuclear power plant than Pripyat itself. What was the power plant like?
Power plant was a bit haunting. To see the giant sarcophagus. It's a lot bigger in person than you expect it to be.
And Pripyat itself, the town that is right next to the nuclear power plant, is hauntingly undisturbed in terms of nature and overgrowth. It looks like a post-apocalyptic world. And the safety regulations around it are very tight, but they recently introduced different regulations associated with it. Everyone has to carry around a Geiger counter, for instance, that measures your certain dosage, and everyone has a particular dosimeter to go around the zone.
Now, we're looking at some photographs that you guys took on your tour.
Yeah.
Did you post those on social media? Because there's been a lot of criticism that people have been doing, and it's rather insensitive.
We did post a few of those pictures on social media with captions from our tour guide's informative explanation of the different photos and areas we were in. So we made sure to include the information along with the graphics.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to notice is also that the tour that we booked with specifically makes a point of the fact that any images or anything that we see in the zone and any money that we contribute to the tour, a portion of it goes towards the charities associated with Chernobyl, and it goes towards supporting the Chernobyl babushkas, so the locals who live within the exclusion zone themselves. But we appreciate the insensitivity that's been surrounding a lot of these photos. I mean, Dana can also explain more about, because Dana works with museums in Cambridge, and is very, very clued into the sensitivity associated with this.
Well, I'll tell you what, before you do that, Dana, I'll come back to you and speak to you about that in a moment, because I just want to bring in Jill. We've been to, as these young people were saying, they've been to Chernobyl, they've posted pictures on social media. Do you think we should be going to these places at all, I guess is the first question? Somewhere like Chernobyl, which has been the scene of a true horror, should it be somewhere that we go on holiday?
I think it's always good to visit these sorts of sites to give you the context of the history, which is what a lot of us go on holidays for anyway. So to visit a site such as Auschwitz or Chernobyl or 9/11, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And in fact, it's good to remind ourselves of the atrocities that have happened. So I don't think visiting them is bad. And I don't even think posting photos of them is bad. But I do think there's a very real concern now with people exploiting them as a way to sort of boost their own image. But if you're posting photos sensitively and respectfully, I don't think that's such a bad thing. And it's always good to remember the tragedies that have happened to help us try to prevent them happening in the future.
And Jill, as these two tourists were telling us, clearly they had very good guidelines from the tour operators about what they could take photos of. But I guess not everywhere will. I'm just thinking about Auschwitz, for example. Now, I went to Auschwitz and was incredibly moved by being there. But I saw people taking photos there, and there was something, even if it's just for personal use, something felt really wrong about that.
Yes, and one of the, so if you go to the site of 9/11 in New York, or you go to the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, for example, places like that that are just open air, free 24/7 for anybody to come up to, you're going to get a lot of that. I don't know, it's a really tricky balance. On the one hand, you don't want to discourage people from going, but I know what you mean. When you, at the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, for example, a few years ago, an In-Flight magazine did a fashion shoot there, which seemed in very poor taste and caused a great deal of outrage, understandably, because that's not what the Holocaust Memorial is about. So posting photos of smiling selfies is a bit odd, but posting photos of the site itself with thoughtful captions perhaps helps highlight the issue. So, I wouldn't want to judge and say nobody should ever post a photo of themselves at these places, but you also have to be mindful of the people around you. And if people are in a somber mood and you're trying to get a group photo of you and your mates laughing and smiling, it just seems it's not just in poor taste, it's kind of offensive, and it takes away from the point of the whole place. So if you are actually going there to try to learn and be respectful, then you need to take that through to your photos.
Yeah. And Dana, just in 10 seconds, would you recommend Chernobyl as somewhere people should visit?
I would absolutely recommend Chernobyl for people to visit, to understand the potential for humanity to come together and overcome tragedies such as the Chernobyl disaster.
Dana, Connor, Jill, many thanks indeed. Do stay with us. Plenty more coming up after this short break.